No running for me. Just speed walking. I ran out. I've run out faster than a DCS battery and being compared to every other brand of battery in the Australian Department of Energy, the test of lithium-ion batteries. That's about as run out as you can get. Apparently there's fish over here. Anytime I'm downtown and I miss my I want to run over and take that kid's fishing pole so bad. Bro, don't fish? No, the kid, you can't do that. The bird's already going to try to eat all the fish. Oh well. Anyway, you can't see them right now. They're hiding from the damn kid with the fishing rod. There's no fishy there right now. There are no koi that I can see. There's usually colorless carp, but I still like seeing the carp. There's a hill over there. There's a dog park over here. Supposedly it's just for dogs. If I bring Mr. Clinton over there, I'm not sure if he'll get along with the dogs. You can see that several people that are running. They're in the shape to run. Did all the running I could do this morning. Oh, so see this over here? This is an AI taxi. See the Waymo? The Jaguar with the funny moving things on it? Every now and then I do this. I just bully it. Like, I'll go up to the taxi and I'll do this. There's nothing I find more fun on this earth than bullying AI. I despise the idea of humanizing AI. I practice it every day, not humanizing it. You know how there are those arguments where some states are one-party consent, some states are two-party consent? I don't want to get to the point where somebody makes an argument that I had no expectation of privacy when I'm using an AI service, because the AI was a sentient party that was listening, right? And one of the problems that I have when you talk about humanizing AI, oh, look at the puppy. Look at the puppy. Hi, come over here, little fella. I'm so much more fun than your owner. Let me be your cool uncle. I don't want to feed you or pick up your shit or anything like that or get you vaccinated, but I would like to pet you and play with you in the park. This is a really cool place to show up if you want to be a dog's cool uncle. I'm not about that responsibility and that taking care of them and taking them to the vet. I got enough of that as it is. But I'm definitely about that having fun with other people's dogs while taking none of the accountability and responsibility of pet ownership. Anyway, yes, I try to avoid humanizing AI whenever possible. Whether I'm making fun of ChatGPT or I'm threatening the Waymo vehicle with my threatening stance. I can see that coming down the line. Like, I started to get annoyed when I would see it say thinking and ... over and over again. You're not thinking. You're auto-completing. Very slowly. That's it. You're not thinking. There's no such thing as thinking here. That's weak. Let's see if I can see any of the other puppies. If I'm not talking, sometimes the dogs will run up to me instead of their owners. Be aware of AI puppy. Shit. You know, I think they had AI puppy before they had AI people. What was that company? Boston something? Was making AI puppies? They're like dogs that can chase things and attack things and... Boston Dynamics, that was it. Look at all the puppies. They're so cute. There's nothing cuter in this world than a puppy that's not your responsibility. It's a Google building up there. Oh, there's flowers in the water there. Somebody threw their flowers in the water. Wonder if that was a date that ended poorly. This is a major city in the United States, so the likelihood of that occurring is actually quite high. Sometimes, just sometimes, I get a feeling that men and women don't get along very well anymore. Just a hint. Someone got rejected. Could be. Do you align with Save Austin Outback and their desire to stop the convention center that they just tore down? You know, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of local politics stuff I haven't looked into, and I don't know jack shit about Save Austin now. I don't know what side they're on. I do know that every time somebody opens a pack, it's always something like Save America, Save this group, Rescue this, Save that. From who? I don't know. And I don't know a lot about that convention center. To stop the convention center they just tore down. So how do you stop something that you tore down? That's also confusing to me. I don't know anything about the convention center. Like, anytime I look at my local politics, I want to scream. And I knew I was kind of avoiding it the same way that you avoid when they're, like, when you how do I put this? When I got my house, I bought a house, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful house, amazing view, best view I've ever had in my life. It makes me happy just looking out the window. But the reason I could afford that house is because it was put together like fucking dog shit. Like, that house is a fucking piece of shit. And one of the things that happens is, let's say I just go and flicker a little. The reason I may avoid it and just not go into that room as much is because I know when it's not just going to be that the outlet is messed up. I posted a picture a year and a half ago of an outlet that wasn't even screwed in. But I know that it's not just the outlet. It's going to be that the wire is corroded, or where the wire meets one of those nuts, those twisty things in the wall is corroded because somebody put that instead of using a wire all the way. And well, how'd water get in there? Well, water got in there because the mortar is fucked up over here. And well, if water got in here, it probably fucked up your window frame too, so you got to replace all that. And if that happened, it probably went to your foundation, so on and so forth. I would just mentally put it off. There's going to be so much fucked up shit there. And I kind of did that with local politics. And then Mackenzie kind of reeled me in when she showed me that $2 million contract for live view surveillance. It's like, what? Wait, they want to spend $2 million to put cameras in the park? Yeah, and there's a budget crisis. What do you mean there's a budget crisis? Well, there's actually this other thing called Prop Q where they want to raise taxes more than they ever have before, in spite of not wanting to undergo an audit, or having undergone an audit after spending all this other money and all this other stupid shit. And like, I just kept digging and digging, and the more that I dug, the more I wanted to bingo card that I here today. And it's, oh great, yeah. Good to see the city council staff just laughs at everybody that shows up. Good to know, good to know. And like, so I haven't looked into that. And part of it is because I haven't had the time. But if I'm being real, part of it is because I know the more I look into it, the more I'm gonna rage, and the more I'm gonna get distracted from everything else. So like right now, somebody's helping put together this website that'll put all the flock appointments on a calendar, make it really easy to see, and when to show up based on your zip code and your email, actually alert you. And that's a cool thing to do, but that's a giant side quest from the many very, very real projects that I have to work on right now and not become distracted from, because I'm very easily distracted by things. So like, one rabbit hole will lead to another, or lead to another, or lead to another. Yeah, I haven't looked into the convention center thing at all. And I should know more about what's happening in my local area. But I also feel like if I know what's going on in my local area, I will be more aggravated about things that I do not have the time or the money at this point to fix, when added to everything else that I add on my plate because I like making my life hard. Making my life art is a fun hobby of mine. Do you think because they're upper class, because we pay them if they cut their pay down or what? That's confusing. Let's see. Those are moving back to New York. Honestly, yeah, I'll give you the one condition under which that would happen. So, I never thought Mamdani had a chance of winning, so I never even bothered discussing this. But I remember thinking to myself, there was this short video he posted, and I don't know how much of this was serious versus how much of this was just bullshit to get attention or get elected. But there was something he posted. It was some sort of small business czar, and that person's job would be to find all the fucked up things that hurt businesses within the city and New York regulations, the departments, the people, the rules, and try and root it out so that businesses could flourish better. And if Mamdani offered me that job, I would take that job. I would work it for free. I would not care about anything that I'm doing affecting my chances of future employment, because I don't care. I would take that job, and I would slice through New York City bureaucracy like, who is that guy? Like Sir Barristan in Game of Thrones threatened to slice through all of Joffrey's guards like a cake. Oh man. It would be like Doge except without corruption and incompetence. Pretty much all the things that Doge was advertised as it would be, but the opposite of what it actually was. Like, it would be that. I would do that. I would do that for free. I would put my business away in a blind trust so that there's absolutely no conflicts of interest whatsoever with anything I'm doing. I would have so much fun. Because one of the things that pisses me off more than anything else is that the opportunities that were afforded to me when I was young in the mid-2000s are not afforded to somebody trying from scratch now. That pisses me off like no end. Like, I got mine. What happens to the next kid trying to come up, trying to do what I did? Are they going to have the same opportunities I did? A lot of it is, different time, different place, different stuff. But a lot of it is harder. Man. What's your job like day to day? No stalking. Mostly just telling people what to do at this point and having weird ideas and going over them. To the stalking person in the comments, no, it's not nice. Hopefully a moderator saw that. Yeah, my day-to-day is, I don't even know how to describe it at this point. Just trying to keep track of all the different things going on. A lot of it is strategizing Section 1201 reform in the United States, putting it into a general consumer rights mission. I see a face in that building. I don't know if you guys can. The one on the left. You see the two eyes? The two eyes, that's an eye, and that's a nose. And that's kind of like a smile. And that up there is kind of like the hair. That's weird. You can see that. I don't know, the person saying it's not black and white, it's 99% gray. I don't know if you're responding to me or somebody else in chat. But yes, it's black and white, but you could definitely draw a line where things have been made more difficult. If Donald Trump wanted to give you a cabinet position, which would you request? I would not, because I would probably... Here's why. I'll explain why. It doesn't have anything to do... It's not about political disagreements or any of that shit, because I can usually put that aside to get work done. The problem is a reporter is going to go up to me and say, do you think Trump won the 2020 election? And I'm going to go, nah, let's cope. And then I'm going to get fired on Twitter after leaving my job and my life behind after 1 week. So I think the turbulence involved is the type of turbulence that would lead me to me getting fired very, very quickly. And I don't know. Like, if I got kicked out because of something legit, that's one thing. But I could just see that trap. And then I go through in my head how to avoid that trap. And I'm not sure how I would avoid that trap without giving up a piece of myself as well. I pretty much work with almost anybody that disagrees with me on a number of different items if it means I'm working to get something done. So when you ask that question, what would I want? I would say some sort of FTC thing, maybe. FTC chair. Steal Andrew Ferguson's job, maybe. But it would have to be, it wouldn't be, I wouldn't care about the administration, but I want it to be something where I can't be fired or replaced unless I explicitly break a law and like a panel of people agrees to it. Now, if you had something where it's, I can't get fired unless I disobey a law, and a panel of bipartisan people agree to it, like, cool. I'll take that even if it's for Trump. But I don't know if I'd want a job where I'm at the whim of being fired by one person who's a bit of a hair trigger on that, if that makes sense. How do you get over your fear of soldering? Okay, so what are you afraid of? And don't say soldering. There's a reason you're afraid of soldering. Soldering in and of itself is not the thing you're afraid of. Are you afraid of being burned? Are you afraid of doing a bad job on something that you already own because you don't have sample gear to work on? Are you afraid of doing a bad job even if it's just a sample throwaway thing, and then feeling that kick of cortisol and stress, like, fuck, I suck, I knew I was going to suck the whole time, and then feeling bad about yourself? It's not the soldering you're afraid of. There's an underlying reason, and I want to examine what that is before going further. Because the thing is, I'll work with virtually any. Now, ironically, and here's the thing, the relationship that Mamdani and Trump had in that one short 30-minute interview, if they had that, like, you called him a communist and you called him a fascist, like, what do you think of this? It's like, yeah, we've all already said our shit before, but like, we're focused on doing this. That type of thing, I could work with that. Cut off my man's Mazda, like, fucking cheap. I saw that shit. Anyway, thank you for blocking the crosswalk, Texas drivers. I appreciate you all. Cunts. But it is what it is. I would fuck with that type of arrangement where it's like, listen, we both know what we think of each other on these things, but that's not what it is. Because the reason they had that arrangement and the reason they had that going back and forth is like, I can't secede New York City from the United States as mayor. Like, that's not going to happen. And like, as Trump is, where he's coming from, it's, I can't send you to some prison camp in El Salvador after you got elected the mayor. So we have to work with each other, right? Do we want to make a wrestling show for everybody that's fun for the reporters for 10 minutes, but that fucks people? Or do you want to like figure out the 1% of the Venn diagram where we may actually be able to do something? Like, what would that be? Smack Con Edison in the dick. Yeah, we both want to smack Con Edison in the dick. Yes, let's do that. Anybody here enjoy seeing Con Edison's stock go down after that, by the way? Oh, couldn't have happened to a nicer company. Couldn't have happened to a nicer company. I'm scared of soldering my broken mouse, but I do it anyway, even though the mouse is kind of expensive. See? You have to find some shit that you don't use anymore. So let me just turn off the noise of my damn phone. I'm getting a bunch of alerts, which vibrate, and it's annoying. See, what you need to do is find something that's already broken, where there's no cost of failure, besides your own ego. And like, here's... like, buy an Acer 5517 laptop from 2010 or something. Take the backlight fuse off of it and put it back on. And when it already works, congratulate yourself. I'm not kidding. Go out and treat yourself, whatever that is. Whether treating yourself as a $5 a bottle of wine, or treating yourself out as a night at Full with a Chow or SB Steakhouse. Like, when you get that one thing right, treat yourself like no one's business. Give yourself, I don't even just mean spend money on yourself. Like, give yourself the liberty to do something that you hadn't before. Ask the person out that you've been nervous to for 2 weeks, and give yourself the liberty to not care about the outcome, because you fucking did something and you didn't fuck it up. And so you have this little positive happy kick of dopamine association in your brain every time you do something right. And then work your way up to working on your mouse. But don't work on your mouse immediately. Because if you work, see, this is when you're first starting to become a repairman, you're going to really want to fix the things that are broken, because that just makes sense to do. But you don't know how to work on them, and you don't have any experience, which means you're probably going to break them. More importantly, those things that you want to fix, you have the highest desire to fix them because they're things that you need. So when you want to fix the things that you need and you can't fix them, now you've made something worse that you need, and now you have this really, really negative association with repair and trying to fix things and trying to solder yourself of, I broke something that's really valuable to me, and I don't know how to get out from under it. and I added $500 or something to my expenses, and then you're never going to want to fix anything ever fucking again. That's why you want to condition your brain to feel confident in doing it. To start really small, and then congratulate the crap out of yourself for the small thing that you did, and keep building and building and building. Don't try to build your skill starting at the top. I don't work on cars ever. I need my car to get to work. My car is what seems like a transmission problem. It's 25 years old, and now I'm going to work on it for the first time. Oh, you're going to hate repair. Repair is going to suck for you. You're going to have so many negative associations with it when you break something horribly, and it costs you a ton of time, a ton of money, and you can't get to work. Your boss is screaming at you. Can you still download your repair guide? Sure, why not? You don't have to ask for permission. What's the difference between cheap and expensive soldering iron? I wouldn't say cheap and expensive, I'd say good and bad. So for instance, if you buy a top-of-the-line JBC or Hakko station, it's going to work about as well as a TS80 or 100 that you may be able to find on eBay for 20 or 40 bucks. The grip may be different, stuff like that, but for the interface, but for the most part, the soldering performance is there. Now, if you buy a shitty soldering iron, that's what matters. When I say shitty, I mean those fucking old-style irons where the tip doesn't have the heater built in, and you turn it on, and you go take a shit, you come back, you watch an episode of 24, and then it's finally warm. Those things suck. So there's good and bad. Don't think of it in terms of cheap or expensive. Now, I have not been in the game to buy a new iron for a very long time, because the Hakko stuff that I bought was so good that I have not had to replace it for like 13 years. So I don't have any recommendations for you, because I have no need for any new stuff. And well, when those models were discontinued and I would hire new people and I had to expand, I would just go on eBay and buy used versions of the ones that I had used in my old videos. I don't really know what the good shit is anymore, but you can find that stuff on eBay that I recommended very plentifully, and that's one of the other reasons that I recommended it to people, because that stuff that I used to recommend, like those 936 and the FM 202 and 203 stations, and the 2032 micro pencil iron with the T30-KN micro pencil tip, and the BCM2 tip for the 2027 iron, all of that stuff is so plentifully available, and you can usually find it on the used market at any time, because repair is an industry that people are constantly jumping in and out of. Can you think better when walking? Usually. Even when I could afford a nicer place, I stayed where I lived. I had the entire floor of my building in the ghetto, rather than buying getting some fancy schmancy condo or studio in Williamsburg or Dumbo or Midtown. I had about 80 feet of length where I could just walk back and forth, and I really liked it. I actually used to pace when I was going over something. It would help me think and help me strategize and make decisions versus sitting down. It was worth it to me. I was okay with a less nice neighborhood if it meant that I could walk around when I'm home or inside. That's why therapists start their careers with people like me who can't afford therapy. Exactly. You have to have a starter project. The starter project, that's what they call it. What do you think of Governor Abbott? Thoughts? It's really awkward. I think it's awkward to me that he doesn't do more to address the electrical infrastructure failures. I don't even mean the 2021 stuff, but it was like last year or the year before. I forget the year, where the fuckface guy in Houston has his AC set to 70 while he's doing an interview, asking people to have their AC, turn their AC down so that the electrical grid stays. I remember when I moved here, Greg Hagar, is he the comptroller? I think, yeah, Greg Hagar, I forget his exact name. He was talking about how there was a $22 billion surplus. And if I were running for Democrat governor, I would not, first thing, do not run somebody who said, yes, I'll take your guns in Texas. I'm just going to throw that out there. There's probably a better way to get your message out there. But secondly, I would probably run along something like, how about we're going to take 1% of that surplus money that we have, and we're going to make it so that your electricity never goes out again. That would be my campaign. I don't know. Somebody got it perfect in recent community post I made on YouTube. Like Austin wanted to ban plastic bags, so they did. And then the governor said, we are gonna ban ordinances banning plastic bags. All the while, like the electrical and the healthcare infrastructure was like completely crumbling and going to shit while they focused on that. It's a good, yeah, seems accurate. I think if I were to run, I would say I'm not going to change anything about your guns. Abortion, fine. Like, in order to win, you keep it illegal, but we'll make it, like, let's work to make this law suck less for people that actually don't want to have horrible miscarriages that wind up keeping them from getting pregnant into the future. Like, let's make sure that Ken Paxton cannot be a doctor. Well, I think that the person who runs successfully for Democrat, unless you can increase voter turnout, which I don't think you're going to be able to do for a number of different reasons, you probably have to thread that needle of, like, not being too pro-choice, but let's make it so Ken Paxton can't be a doctor anymore. I don't know. I'm not a fucking political strategist. You're asking the wrong person these questions. The Austin issue was didn't trim the trees combined with the mega ice storm, so Austin electricity charged from a 3-year cycle. Fuck Austin. Forget about Austin for electricity. Look what happened in Houston in the summer. I mean, if Texas really is the energy capital of the United States, then how the fuck you have its most populous, one of its biggest cities, go without power? It's a meme, and it's a meme that it should be really easy to make that not happen. I'm not saying it is easy, to be clear. There's a difference. I'm saying it should be easy, especially if your state has that much of a budget surplus, like just for reputational reasons, right? Like, let the rest go to shit. I'm not saying you should let the rest go to shit, but let the rest go to shit, just so that you could continue to say that Texas is energy dominant. Keep your most populous city from having millions of people without air conditioning in the fucking Texas summer. Like, just for reputational purposes. Like, let everything else go to shit, but make that work. I feel like beating Abbott should be easier than it is, but they also typically choose people to run that just have no chance of winning. Like, they run the Democrat version of, I don't know, Curtis Lewa or something. Not that I don't have anything against Lewa, it's just, you know, he's never going to win. People died during the Austin ice storm. Austin assembly could have been prevented by trimming the trees. Yeah, that is sad. I know somebody whose husband's job it is to literally just trim the trees and keep that in order. And like, you know, he does a very, very valuable service. He takes pride in it. He's a good dude. Shout out if he's listening. That is important. I think people see that as decorative more so than actually having a utilitarian purpose, which it most certainly does. I guess it took that. Hagar resigned. Kelly Hancock is the controller. Yeah, I just remember reading an article when I moved here. Because I was curious about these things and budgetary stuff. There's like $22 billion surplus, either 2021 or 2022. That's where I read that Hagar's name. You had begun explaining how you break time down in manageable chunks, speaking delicately, only specific time to comments, but chat got away. You politely apologized. Wonder. I feel like there's a sentence there that I missed. But yeah, missing you in New York. I miss you too, Ted. Are you Ted S or Ted Z? You're Ted S. I don't know a Ted S, but is there a Ted Z? Take a stand on global warming. I don't really know what I can do about it. Get Saudi Aramco to have less emissions. Make the world be nice to each other so that the U.S. military, which I think is the source of a lot of the emissions in the U.S., has less to make. I don't know. Supposedly we passed like a point of no return 2 or 3 years ago anyway. I forget if it was 2 or 4 years ago. I don't really think there's much I can do about that. There's a lot of stuff where I feel like if I put in all my effort, I have like a 1% chance of making a change. I have no fucking chance of... I have no chance of doing anything there. I'm sorry. Like, it sucks. I would like to have kids, so that part does suck. The only hope I can imagine for that is that our kids are way smarter than we are, and they come up with some sort of psychotic solution that just magically fixes it. That probably sounds completely fucking ridiculous, but I want you to imagine that you're talking to your great-great-grandpa from 200 years ago, and you try to explain to him the concept of what it is I'm doing to my phone right now, and what it is you're all doing watching it. Well, I'm actually talking into a rectangle that allows me to see and communicate anywhere in the world, and them to see me and me to see them. And these things you see on the street are, I know you guys are used to horses and buggies, but these are actually, these actually move themselves. How? Well, you see, you don't know this yet, but we're actually going to dig into the ground. And I know you guys think the world is 2,000 years old or 1,800 years old, but it's actually like billions. And there's this shit that used to exist over 250 million years ago. And they leave liquid behind when they die. We're going to take that, we're going to use it to power the shit that we use, so that we can go from one side of the world to the other in less than a day. You'd probably get burned for being a witch. So, I do have a sense of optimism, since I would like to have kids. Because people will ask, well, what do you think the point is of that? Climate change, war, all this other stuff. The next generation, everybody says that they're stupider or more fucked up than the last generation, but I think the next generation is going to figure it out. Don't get it twisted. We're leaving them a giant fucking mess, but next generation always seems to figure out the last generation's bullshit so far. Why couldn't it happen again? I don't see why it couldn't happen again. And if it does, that's beautiful. Yeah. Even just the idea that I'm going to go to a website that's free, and I'm going to ask some fucking robot running on GPUs to complete exercises from Dennis Ritchie's C programming language book for me and give me working solutions. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. It's totally doable. It's a creepy looking elevator up there. Oh, I thought that the lights were moving on the elevators. As I'm moving, in my peripheral vision, the reflection of the other building is moving. Interesting. I'm a UT adjunct, and I can assure you that the next generation cannot do elementary arithmetic, much less shoulder the burden of the shepherding us through a climate crisis. See, you're looking at the majority of people, and that's not what I'm looking at. Because what you actually need, there's some theory on this, and I forget the exactness of it because I'm a bum that's not educated well. But there's some theory, something like the square root of the people involved in something do half of the productive output. We can argue about what productive output is, but like the idea is, suck it. Oh, you drive like a New Yorker. Oh, look at them honk back at each other in rage. The one in the white Toyota tried to cut the gray SUV off. Usually I'm biased towards the sedans, but that was a clear-cut case of the sedan being a dick. Let's say that you have 9 people working on something. 3 people are going to be responsible for about half of that project getting done. Whatever the work is, whatever, like, I'm not even talking about, they're going to do more shoveling of the dirt, but like they're going to figure out a more efficient way to do it, or they're going to figure out what shovel to use, or they're going to figure out what space to go to, or usually that's the larger the project gets. Conversely, if you have 10,000 people working at a company, there's probably 100 people that are responsible for like 50% of that company's revenue, and onwards and onwards. You don't need a lot. If I were to guess, I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like 100,000 people that run the country right now, and the rest of us are just kind of there for show, to just kind of keep it propped up and along. Like making sure that the water, a lot of the basic health infrastructure, sewage, electrical, internet, all that. Yeah. I bet probably like 100,000, maybe 1 million. The rest of us are just kind of here to duct tape things together every now and then. You don't need a lot of people to be really smart. To a really stupidly low number. And then like tens of millions of people can be supported. 10 of millions of complete idiots like me can be supported off of like 1 or 2 smart people having a good idea. I'm gonna go be dinner boy. Well, sure.
Consumer rights should focus on ending copyright and DMCA instead of forcing regulations on companies to service you.
I don't think you actually even understand what that means. So ending the DMCA versus ending something like Section 1201 would mean that if a website has an issue, or let's say somebody uploads Eminem without me to that particular website, then you would just be able to take down the entire website rather than have a process that you could go through to get down the offending material. Now, you may think, well, that's solved by getting rid of copyright. But getting rid of copyright fundamentally gets rid of your ability to claim authorship of a particular work. Now, I may not agree with the degree to which we punish people for copyright infringement. You may say, like if I take a picture from Google image search and I use it as my Discord avatar in this fashion, that somebody should not be able to claim that this is copyright infringement in some way, shape, or form. And we can have arguments back and forth there, but getting rid of copyright and the DMCA is like you're living in dreamland, and I don't think that you've actually thought through any of that, so I don't even know why I'm engaging. I think that people should have the ability to say that I authored this particular work. This is mine. I made this. Now, if you want to quote me or anything else, that's cool. If you want to build upon my idea, I'm definitely okay with getting rid of a lot of the intellectual property stuff that allows patents to exist in the way that they do right now. If you want to build upon my idea and make it better, I support that. But you should be able to say, I wrote this. What the actual fuck are you talking about? Oh, that's just a stupid troll. Thanks, sir. I'm surprised at how few people are out right now. Honestly, ever since leaving New York City, I'm very, very surprised by that on a regular basis. I still got to remind myself, like, city of 8 million people versus city of 800,000 people. It is normal that 90% of what I see is missing. Favorite 80s action movie? I don't think I have one, man. I watched all that stuff when I was a kid. Don't remember most of it now. Have you ever had a job? Yes, would not recommend. I tried it as a teenager, I tried it as an adult. Oh, that's the worst. Would you date an e-girl? When you say e-girl, what does that even mean? I'm gonna lean towards no, because that's just kind of weird. That's a little too weird sounding for me. Without knowing what that is, I would say no. Your germ cells will survive. What? Are you going somewhere or walking for the sake of walking? Walking, speed walking for the sake of exercise after finishing a run. This is my lazy time. My spine's gonna be completely recovered. Yeah. Amazing. Interesting. Stop loading chat. Personally, I'm for the AI cameras. Hopefully they put one outside your house. It is very imbalanced and unfair. What is? I'm for AI cameras because it brings us one step closer to a complete authoritarianism, revelation of Jesus and what? Never mind. Okay. Why'd I even read that shit?
A girl who streams and has Sims.
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't. Nah, no interest in that. I had to have this conversation recently. Okay. I have to obfuscate enough details that the person I'm talking about is not immediately obvious. So give me 20 seconds to do this, okay? This is a worthwhile conversation. Okay, I think I got it. All right. So, as you all know, I try to get certain kind of consumer rights legislation passed, and when I fail at that, I try to revoke laws that are less popular that are against consumer rights. So either remove shitty anti-consumer laws or add pro-consumer ones. Anyway, I'm at an event with some people that I sometimes work with, and at the end, and there's some women there, and there's some men there. Anyway, some of these people, they're people that I would not want to be around without people around me. And I'm a guy. I'll put it like that. Just like, would not, like, I want to know where the door is when I'm around these people. Anyway, they're there, and you can imagine how these people are acting with the women. Anyway, we leave, we get the fuck out of it quickly because it's weird. I don't want to be in, there's a certain people that I don't want to be around. Like, there's certain people I really just don't like being around. And every now and then, like, you'll have to talk or have a conversation with them in order to have a conversation with somebody else. So, we leave, and the next day, I find out that one of these individuals that used to make fun of us for our dating decisions actually is getting married to a prostitute, or an escort, I guess I should say. And one of the other two women I was with is like, well, what's wrong with that? I have no problem with that. What's wrong with that? Like, that's a fine thing. And I remember saying, okay. What, you've all been really, really helpful for me this entire time that we've been trying to push some sort of like real consumer rights legislation. Hypothetically, I'm thinking this in my head. I didn't say it out loud because I'm not that fucking stupid. I guess I'm stupid enough to say it out loud to like 200 people, but not in the moment. Okay, if I had said, how about this? Like, here, I'm gonna leave this place. Would you mind staying? Here's $5,000, take one for the team. I have a feeling that you probably wouldn't have liked that. Yes, that is what is weird with that. So, like, I'll meet people that are like, why would you have an issue with that? I don't think there's probably anything wrong with that at all. It's like, okay, cool, so you do it. Like, here are the 20 different jobs and 20 different random things that you've been willing to do. Like random web design, administrative assistant kind of stuff, bookkeeping, banking, what am I thinking of? Like engaging with politicians, all different types of stuff that's really, really helpful that you don't get paid for. But something tells me if I asked you $5,000, like go to that party and stay there and I'm leaving, like you're not going to want to do it. And forget about the rest of the deal, right? I don't want nothing to do with, there's certain things I just want nothing to do with. No, ego is not for me. Yeah, there's a difference, but okay, for the person who talked about the relationships being transactional, there's a difference between transactional as in, like, I'm going out with somebody that's, like, I'm 70 and I'm going out with a 30-year-old, and I know that I'm not that good looking and I'm rich, versus, like, you literally just walk up to somebody who says, like, here's $2,000 in an envelope, there's a hotel, let's go. Like, there's a bit of a difference, right? And again, there's somebody before who said everything on a spectrum, things ain't black and white, and I agree things ain't black and white. Yeah, I don't think I could do that. There's also, how far do I want to go on this one? What even are some of these questions? Yes. I think there's a difference between marrying somebody that's had 4 or 5 sexual partners throughout their life versus marrying somebody whose job it is to get people that are lonely and sad and depressed to donate $1 to $5 to them on an OnlyFans account or something, where you're kind of milking the provider instinct of men that have that healthy outlet for it in a weird, fucked up social mediaized world. Yeah. Like, it's weird. I don't know. I don't know why I'm answering the weirdest of questions. I don't want anything to do with that. E-girl doesn't mean, well, that's, nobody specified, so that's what you get, MORMC. Hello, Catherine. Do me a favor, Catherine. Don't rewind. You haven't missed anything of value. Hope your cat is doing well. You hear about the new $7 billion trend they're building in Austin. Are you talking about Project Connect? The thing that before they've even put a single, like before anybody's even so much as taken out a hammer, they've already pulled back on where it's going to transport people from and what it's going to do for the original proposed cost. Yeah. I hate to say it, but in the continental United States, honestly, the entire United States, New York City has public transit down pat. Is it disgusting? Absolutely. Is it efficient at transporting people from one portion of the city to another in a city of 8.5 million fucking people? Yes. At virtually any time of day or night, you can go from any part of that city to another. And like, it's ugly, the trains break a lot, the infrastructure looks shitty, it's filled with rats and mice, but it works. Like if you leave a party, let's say you go to, I don't know, Oco restaurant on the east side here, and then you leave a party at 1 in the morning that's going on across the street. And you live in someplace by like exit 227 on I-35 or something, one of those more sprawled apartment complexes, or you live near the Domain. Like, what fucking train are you getting on a Saturday at 3 in the morning? Nothing. Like, New York City's infrastructure, it's garbage, but it has the bones. And I think that's what's so bothersome to a lot of people about the MTA and the New York City subway system. Is like the skeleton, the bones are there, the frame is there, right? Everything is there to make it somewhat not shit. Dress up the underground a little bit, clean it up a little bit. Get rid of some of the giant waste of money at the MTA. Fix the fucking switches at Myrtle Wyckoff on the L train and Lorimer Street, and you got a pretty awesome system. And it's all underground, so you're not taking up a lane, anything. It's very efficient. So much potential. Oh, getting some good exercise in here. How often do you exercise? I lift weights 3 to 4 days a week. I exercise every day because in the off days from weights, I'll usually get in some cardio. I try to get in cardio on the days that I do weights as well, but it won't be the same. It'll be something maybe like a speed walk like now, but without the run that came before it. I saw in New York recently, they passed out and they fell onto the subway, and then when the subway came, it amputated her because they don't have doors, and I think they won a judgment, I think $81 million against the MTA. So that's a mess at the moment.
Yeah, and when you say New York City Transit, should be like Japanese transit. I have not taken Japanese transit. The closest I've gotten is a YouTube video. And let me tell you something about how jealous that made me. It was just a YouTube video, but I could smell it. And by smell it, I mean I could not smell it, which is more than I could say for New York City. Walkable cities are a bit of a meme in the United States, and I'll tell you why. I agree with a lot of what you hear Not Just Bikes talk about on his channel. We probably vote for different people from time to time, but I agree with a lot of the stuff that he says. But when you look at what's a walkable city, let's say New York City is held up as a walkable city to many people, right? But when they talk about Mamdani doing the socialist grocery stores, a lot of what they're not just saying there is Mamdani is not talking about putting a socialist grocery store next to fucking Gristedes on 26th Street and 9th Avenue. Or I actually thought, wow, I'm smiling right now because I actually forget where Gristedes is. Holy shit, I'm shedding some of the New York City, finally. I hope I wasn't right about where Gristedes is. Please tell me I'm wrong. But he's talking about putting these grocery stores in neighborhoods where nobody wants to open them. So in New York City, if you live in Midtown, if you live in Hell's Kitchen, man, that's probably a fucking awesome walkable neighborhood to live in. Can you afford to live there? Yeah, if you live in the East Village, that's freaking awesome. Enjoy spending $3,500, $4,000 for a fucking studio shithole apartment, right? Like, I live in Bed-Stuy. What do you mean walkable? And before they opened Lincoln Market for like 10 years, I had Key Food. You would walk over to Key Foods, and the shit that was in front of me would be fucking expiring the day that I'm there. It was shit. It's like the milk that I would buy there would grow me a third eye. Not that there's anything wrong with that if you listen to Tools Anima. But you have bodegas and delis and all this other shit. And you have like I lived in Bed-Stuy in different areas. 3 different apartments in Bed-Stuy for almost 15 years. I have Kennedy's Fried Chicken, I got a check cash in place, I got Kennedy's Fried Chicken, I got another check cash in place, I got a liquor store, I had a bodega, another bodega, a barbershop. It's like that's not a walkable neighborhood. Like a lot of people that live in New York City, just because they live someplace where you have sidewalks and you can walk to shit, does not make it a fucking walkable neighborhood. And they always point to the places that 99% of my chat could not afford to live as the walkable neighborhoods. And yeah, that's fine. But like there's a lot of demand for those walkable neighborhoods. And same thing here. There's walkable parts of Austin. Look at the price in contrast to the non-walkable parts. Now, to give Not Just Bikes his due credit, or do something, I forget what the word is. He often talks about other areas outside the United States that I've not been. And I am ignorant to much of what he speaks about because I don't have the same level of experience. I suggest this channel, it's very interesting. Especially when he goes into the property tax breakdowns. If you find it useful, you can donate $2 or $5. Good channel. Interesting person. But there's when he goes into the property tax breakdowns and he shows you the walkable versus non-walkable areas and how much money they generate for the city. It's interesting because when you look at that, for all the money that people will complain that liberal areas will waste on stupid shit, one of the reasons they're able to even do that is because they make so much more money in the first place. Like, how much money is this parking lot generating, right? Nothing. You can park here for free. You could have, if this was the East Village in New York City, you could probably have at least like 30 other businesses, even if the building was only as tall as this Office Depot, 30 other businesses doing business in the space of this fucking parking lot. And those 30 businesses are going to produce a lot more tax revenue than, empty space. It's just so funny that no matter how much money New York City manages to collect, they still find a way to waste more. See, it's a ratio problem. paradox about New York City is if you're rich enough to live there nicely, you can be an emperor anywhere else. I'd rather have lots of land than a penthouse on the 100th floor. Yeah, I suppose. It's interesting to be around that high density of people. For me, I never used it for a social reason. I used it for business reasons. Like, I could set up my little dump of a store, and I had so many different people walking in with so many different problems. It made it easy to hyper-focus on a couple of things and become really good at it because I had such a high sample size of devices to work with on a regular basis. My business was definitely shaped by where I was, and it wouldn't have been as easy for me anywhere else. As hard as it was, I don't think it would have been possible in other places. That's why I would take Tom Donnie's job to be the small business czar of New York City for free. Should I wear a body cam everywhere I go? No corruption. I'd be happy recording every single day on the job. I'd publish and live stream it all to YouTube. You could read every contract, see everything I did. No cats on a leash. No. You should come to Canada. I've been to Canada before. It's very expensive. Louis, can we meet up? I don't know you. No. Are you sad you left New York before you got to see the invention of tractions? Something tells me that that's still a problem. I mean, every major city has its problems. The best way that I could describe Austin, if I were to think about it, I'm going to try. It kind of reminds me of like the Dubai of Texas. I visited Dubai at one point, and the first thing that you realize when you visit there is there's a couple of things that make Dubai, of all the places I've been to in the world, why this reminds me of Dubai. Number one, the laws of the locality are completely different from the laws of the state. So I remember when I was in Dubai, I went there many years ago, and their idea of progressive back then was if you are with a woman, you're allowed to share a hotel room or an apartment, and you're allowed to share the room with her, even if you're not married. I think they passed that in 2019 or 2020. Like, that's their idea of woke. That doesn't get you arrested. And I remember I went there with somebody that I used to know 10 years ago, and the hotel was like looking at our IDs and just staring and like, oh, you're lucky that just passed. I won't tell anyone. Some people still care about that. I'm like, what? That was interesting. So like the laws of Austin are so much different than the laws of Texas. Yet the state is run by the very conservative 10 Commandments in every school legislature, even though Austin is like the liberal enclave of it. Everybody that you meet in Austin is not from Austin. Almost everybody I've met here, I've met maybe 2 people that were actually born in Austin in the 3.5 years I've lived here. They're all from somewhere else. It has this feeling when you walk around, like you're in Dubai, you're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in the Middle East. You would expect to see a bunch of local culture kind of shit. But you walk by and you're like, Cheesecake Factory, like this place here is like a copy and paste of American's Fogo de Chao. You see a bunch of Americanized looking shit that just seems like it was put there for tourists. And when you move to Austin, you see kind of like that same thing where you see like what they did with the Domain. Like, what is the Domain? There's just a bunch of brand name, like North Italia. It's just kind of copy and paste of the kind of cookie cutter businesses that don't have any sort of local flavor to them, you know? Like Oko has local flavor as a restaurant. Shout out to Oko, awesome. SP Steakhouse has local flavor to it. Lucha, the burrito place in New York City before they closed, or Mizzetto had local flavor. So there's all these places that have opened up in the past 10 years alongside all these tall buildings. And a lot of these tall buildings are kind of vacant. I forget if it was Kate Tut or one of those local news agencies that starts with a K. It was talking about how one of these buildings is something like a 90% vacancy rate. Another one is 68%. They put up all these buildings to impress people. Well, if you look at what the Austin skyline looked like in 1999, at least in downtown, you wouldn't recognize it. All these buildings weren't here. They put up all these buildings, and like, for what? So that you could have all these weird little soulless restaurants that would show up and kind of replace and price out the people that used to live here. Now, it's missing some other items, like the whole slave labor thing that Dubai has, that Austin has less of a problem with that. But yeah, if I were to describe Austin as a city, I would say that Austin reminds me of Dubai. You're dealing with a system where the local city culture is far more progressive than the state level culture that it is wrapped within. It's like a tourist thing. They put up a bunch of fancy shit that kind of seems like paper to impress the people that are showing up. There's a lot of economic opportunity that people move here for. Everybody here is from somewhere else. Yeah, I would say that's my description after 3.5 years, I'd say. I still enjoy going to the really small theaters where you buy tickets in the space for 9 people, and live music shows where... Just dropped my... Damn, this thing came off the water bottle. I like going to live music venues that I have a feeling 2 years from now will not be able to afford their rent, but can right now. That kind of... Damn it. Did I just drop this thing again? Oh, Butterfingers. So I'll enjoy it for the next 5 or 10 years or so, however long it lasts, until it becomes a place where it's just a playground for rich kids. Well, there's something different about gentrification. There's gentrification where you build buildings and people show up. And then there's here where they build so much office space downtown and nobody's fucking renting it. There's gentrification where, let's see, okay, so I visited Chattanooga. I'll describe that, right? I'm sure I don't know a lot about the history of Tennessee, but something tells me Chattanooga's changed a bit over the past 15 years. Now people talk about it. And when I walk down one of the main streets, I see all these local bakeries that I've never heard of in my life. I see all these interesting little restaurants and consignment stores and stuff like that. Like, you walk downtown here and you see like a fucking CrossFit gym, and you know, it's Fogo, North Italia, Sweet Green. 6th Street is its own thing, but this video is sponsored by uBlock Origin. Always, always. Make sure you install your ad blocker. Let's see. Ricardo says, I was blown away with the beginning of your Austin City Council live stream opening with a prayer session. Oh, that was not Austin. That was the opposite of Austin. That was Vidor. Yeah, you can just Google Vidor, Texas town, and you'll see. You can do some reading about that. I'll allow you to do your research on that one. But there's, yeah, that Vidor is not Austin, my friend. I feel like I'm starting to get in better shape because I've been after running for at least an hour now, and I have zero back pain. Shout out to Dr. Evil Genius for being the best personal trainer, physical therapist, and rehab person in the world. It was awesome. Love it. This is great. I can get used to this. I was really expecting to end the stream like 20 minutes in. Go lay down. I give myself this thing in my head so I have something to shoot for. Like, I say ahead of time, I will run until I feel pain here. I'll run for 30 minutes. I'll run until I get to this place. Instead of just making it up as I go. I try to avoid making it up as I go with some of these things, so I actually do it. 409, look at that. Cleaning fluid. That's what they used at Avatar Studios. They just had 409 spray bottles everywhere. I thought they were speaking something alien to me, where there'd be some... When I started, there was an intern. People would point to something, and they go, 409. Like, what the fuck does that mean? 409. And what they were telling me is they wanted me to clean a surface that was nasty. I thought that they were all just talking in code or something, or that they were all high. It took me a day to realize that they were saying, you need to clean this. That was a fun unpaid internship. Let's see what the park looks like after Prop Q failed.
The walk sign is on the cross.
Oh no. I have no idea what he said. Maybe it was a nice. Pro tip is now too expensive to be sick and unhealthy in America. I think it's always been too. No shit, they have gates around it. Let me try to get one on the other side. I think it's always been that way. I had healthcare when I worked for Aaron for 2 years. That was it. And because people have asked, do your employees have health? Do you give your employees healthcare? It's like they have the same healthcare plan I do, man. When I look at the price of providing healthcare to the people, like I could choose, okay, you can either get like 25 an hour, or I can give you like 35 or 40 an hour, but without healthcare. And it's like, which do you want? And then I would look at the fucking healthcare, and it's like $9,000 or $15,000 deductible. You look at the doctors that are covered under whatever plan that you get it looking at, and it's all like shit where you can only choose a doctor from this list, and the doctors that are on this list all have 1-star ratings on Google. I would have to get hit by a bus for the average American healthcare plan. And this is the last time I looked at this. This is like 7 years ago. If I had a healthcare plan that I paid $350 a month for, $400 a month, I would have to get hit by a bus in order for it to make financial sense. Either that, or I'd have to have cancer, and then I'd have the privilege of being treated by the people that are on the list of approved people that could work on me, like the 1-star repair shops. I could have the mall iPhone repair shop swap out my kidney. No thanks. I've had the YOLO healthcare plan. It's called the Walk It Off plan. When I got my concussion in 2018, after I slipped on some metal plate, I went to the hospital. They put this little thing to your brain to see if your brain is bleeding, just to see if there's anything that needs attention. The moment they said your brain's not bleeding, I'm thank you. They're like, what are you doing? You just had a concussion. You can't get up. It's like, I asked for food. You didn't bring it. Listen, whatever bill you're going to give me, I do not want to stay here any longer than humanly necessary. I spent 20 minutes in the hospital. I got a bill for $5,000. I went to the hospital and I said, listen, I don't have insurance. I could give you $1,500, $2,000. I was here for an hour, most. If you want to round it up to an hour, I respect that your time is worth money. Like, what do you say? Like $2,000? They said no. Oh well. I tried. Best of luck. Best of luck getting the rest out of me. Like, I'm not giving you $5,000 for putting a scanny thing to my head, looking at the screen, and telling me that my brain is not bleeding. I'll find a way to live with myself. Oh, the food part was the funniest. So I was hungry. I had actually come from the gym. I was riding my bike from the gym. I had a light breakfast that day. That was deadlift day. And after 20 minutes, they bring me by a slice of American cheese, stale bread, and a cup of water that has a hair in it. It's like, I'm out of here. Chipotle's right across the street. I'll go to Chipotle. I went to Chipotle. I could barely remember who I am. They could have charged me $90 for fucking bolus of Fritas with brown rice, and I would have paid it. This red light's gonna be here for a while. Why would you go to the hospital for a concussion? So they were doing maintenance on the road, and when they do maintenance on the road, they usually put these metal slates, but they have grips on them. And this one was a metal slate with no grips on it at all. So and it had oil on it from because it was raining that day as well. So there's like water and oil and mixing and everything in there. So when I went over it, I immediately fell on my ass. Like the moment that the wheel touched it, the bike just. I have never fell that hard on a bike or that fast in my life while doing nothing. Like no braking happening, no nothing. Just boom. Yeah, that was the YOLO healthcare plan. Why do people have kids in America when they can't afford healthcare? I think the desire to reproduce is very strong, because having a kid is the cool thing about having a kid is you get to see what you would be capable of if you had a different upbringing. Like, what would a little me be like, but if it was raised by me and a quality woman that I choose versus what I was born with? I think that's very interesting for a lot of people. And I don't think people want to wait until they're rich for that to happen. And then there's also a lot of people who don't know what birth control is or don't want to use it. Lack of impulse control is a big one. The hospital, the concussion thing, that wasn't really a voluntary one. At least getting transported there. Yeah, I got taken to the hospital. Yeah, I woke up inside a vehicle going to the hospital. The ambulance was a separate charge altogether. That I just paid. That was okay. I shouldn't say reasonable because there are people from Europe watching my stream that are gonna scream. It was $1,100. I think $1,135 for the ambulance. That, like, fine, I get it. You may think, well, that's just they only provided a half hour of work, and it's like, yeah, but you're paying for them to drive around all fucking day and be ready to respond within 90 seconds and get over to you. You're paying for them even when they're not responding to shit, so that's why ambulances are expensive. Whether or not it gets paid for by the state or the person, yeah, I get that. I understand that argument of being psychotic that we pay the level of taxes we do and we still have to pay for our own healthcare. But the ambulance, like, I paid that. That's fine. I have no problem with that. The fucking $4,000 or $5,000 for the scanning tool. No. If my brain was bleeding and I was about to die and you fixed it, I'll talk, like, we can have a conversation about giving me $5,000, but it'd still be a conversation. Gay sidewalk. Yes, this is the more gay part of downtown. 4th Street is like a big gay area. So my store was in Chelsea, 27th, and between 6th and 7th, which is kind of like the border of kind of like you're going from Chelsea to Midtown at that point. But yeah, my store was in like a gay area. If you walk down 7th Avenue, you'd see the blue. You know what the blue is if you know. Not there's anything wrong with that, but that's kind of like the blue-ish block. Everybody I've met there has always been a nice person. I got nothing against them. Nice people. You should say hi, be kind, all different types of people you walk past in life. They might be nice to you back, and it may come in handy someday. Do you fit in more in this area? Oh, I am oil and water almost anywhere that I go. And the thing that I learned in my 30s that I didn't really accept in my 20s or teens is that it's kind of more fun that way. I like poking at things. There's a lot of stuff in the world that needs to be poked at. And it's not a 4th Street joke. There's a lot of... And if you fit in, you may not be as willing to poke at them as you should be. You're walking in circles. I am not walking in circles. A circle would be a very coordinated path. That would be 3.1415962. I'm walking in something else altogether. Because I really thought I was going to have back pain at least 40 minutes ago. If not an hour ago. It's refreshing. You are not susceptible to groupthink. I mean, I think I am more than a lot of people. I try to be honest with myself, and I try to have a dialogue with myself so that I can catch it. I want to catch when I'm about to say or do something really stupid. Not this on my stream, bro. We're not going there. Hello, Dr. Evil. How are you, my friend? We're just talking about the lovely work that you've been helping me with fixing my back. I'm an hour and 17 minutes in and I don't have any back pain. Yeah, I was going to do a 20-minute walk because I did a run this morning and I felt more tired than usual after lifting yesterday, and I'm still walking an hour and 20 minutes in. I said I was going to walk until I felt like I probably couldn't walk. It got hard to walk. And I committed to it. And the problem that this is a good thing that I do. I do this when it comes to emotional reactions too. So I'll try to plan it ahead of time. Like, where is my line? So instead of coming up with where my line is ahead of time, instead of coming up with where my line is in the moment and being hyper emotional, because I can be an emotional person, I'd rather, where's your turn signal, bro? Turn signal! See, I told you, Dr. Evil, they drive like shit here too. Anyway. If I wasn't on video, I'd throw my water bottle at his car. But, hey. Anyway, where was I? Don't get hit right after fixing your back. I'll play a game of chicken with that car. Ask Dr. Eagle how I got my first quadricep tear. I think my personal trainer tuning in is... As a personal trainer, I would feel a level of investment in like seeing my clients succeed. So tuning in to watch them play a game of chicken with a car would probably not give me good feelings. Anyway. Yeah, the light was green for me. It was green for him too, but use the fucking turn signal. It won't kill you. What are you, on a German car? There's only one person I've ever met in my life with a German car that uses turn signals. And he's in my chat right now. He knows who he is. One person, ever. At least, I shouldn't say that. One person that drives a German car in America that uses turn signals. Okay, where was I before? Oh yeah. I try to come up with how I'm going to respond to something ahead of time, instead of in the moment. So it takes the, am I being too emotional out of it. I do it with exercise too. I'm going to walk until I feel like I'm too tired to walk. Fully expecting I was going to be too tired 10 minutes ago. Ooh, what am I walking through? How's it going? I have no idea what game they're playing. That was a game going on then. Somebody dropped his keys and they all went to try and get them. I don't know what that is. We keep it moving. one thing I miss about the mid-2000s New York City. Live music. When BB King's closed in Manhattan, I forget if when BB King's closed, that was kind of the beginning of the end for me. Dude just tossed that lady. Yeah, that's not easy, man. If I did that, her back would be in worse condition than mine. Dice game. It looks like a fun dice game. It looked like a dice game, except they were playing with keys, which is highly confusing to me. I don't understand that game at all. That is turning red. That is some strong weed. Was not expecting that. CFH sounded awful. I have no idea what that is. That is the weirdest acronym that nobody's heard of. Dance? Whew. That is some strong weed. Exceptionally. I feel secondhand high right now. There's one place down here that has a jukebox from the 90s. It used to have Charles Mingus in the jukebox and they took it out of the jukebox. It makes me sad. I would always go by there and put a few bucks into. It was Charles Mingus. I think it's an album from the 60s. It was a live version of it. Really good. It's a place called Casino El Camino. Are you smoking? Nope. Looks clean. Well, there's nobody here right now. That's Coyote Ugly. It's some bar that's known for, like, the bartenders, they have female bartenders dance on the bar, and I guess that's supposed to be a thing. And you pay extra money for it. I've never understood the appeal of that. What is this? This looks new. I shouldn't say new, it looks like 2012-ish, 2010, 13-ish style frame. But I guess for this area it would be considered new. The building looks like it was recently painted. Huh. Interesting. Don't really know what's there. I'm not usually focused when I go down here. There's Casino El Camino, which is the shit. I'll start going back there when they have Charles Mingus back in the jukebox. I don't know what it is. I have this ridiculous obsession with empty real estate. I don't need a store anymore. I don't need a store anymore. Why is that so interesting to me? Carrington Building. Austin's first black property owner, Edward Carrington, built his grocery store and home in 1872. Not content just to be a successful rancher and grocer, he responded to his community by loaning money to families to buy farms, gave food to the local destitute, and arranged for the burial of impoverished neighbors. His son-in-law, L.D. Lyons, was a champion for the rights of his people, and the acknowledged son of Texas Governor Alicia Peace. The Carrington-Lyons family was in business on East 6th Street for a century. That is 99 and a half years longer than most of the restaurants I see open in New York City. That's pretty cool. Somebody's gonna keep up with the gentleman's building. There's a place called Wanderlust Wine Bar down here that's pretty interesting. This is where a lot of the homeless population hangs out. It's funny because sometimes I'll see that I always knew I could come down here for a parking spot because, like, the yuppies would not want to park here because of the homeless. And it's like, I don't care. What are you going to steal in my car? The fucking half-empty plastic water bottle? But it looks... I can't change the world often. Like, sometimes I can clean up my corner, but I can't change things. I figure at the very least, I can't change the fact that everybody's scared to death of all the homeless people. At the very least, what I could do, I'll just at least have cheap parking. Or cheap and consistent parking. By utilizing what is not being utilized. I do have a car, I do. Still feeling the quad from earlier? You know, I've actually walked enough that I forgot that I had a quad. I haven't tried sprinting though. Let's see if I were to sprint, so I still feel it. Let's jog, and then... Oh yeah, yes. It's in the left leg, and it's interesting. It feels like the tear did in the right leg like a year later, but I know I didn't tear anything. It's just tired, but it's weird that I feel that during sprinting, since I haven't done a sprint in over a week. Yeah, no more of that. We're walking. We're getting some nice walking exercise in. Whew. That's about the range I can jog. True. Yes. Yes, I did deadlifts yesterday. I usually don't go to this side of town when Oko is closed. On Mondays and Tuesdays, I have no reason to be east of I-35. Every day that Oko is closed, and there is no Pinoy Meze, is a sad day. Let's see. Ever experienced any paranormal stuff? I've been really drunk before. I don't do that anymore though. It's not good for your health. Your trainer's going to injure you. No, he's not. You're just tired. It's okay to rest. Yes. I'll do a circle around here and then go back. The overpass is massive. Yeah, for the people who don't live in Austin, this is two main highways. On the west side, there's the Mopac, otherwise known as Loop 1. And on the east side, there's the interstate, I-35. Mopac at least has some things that look mildly different as you drive by if you're going from uptown to downtown. Whereas I-35, it's very cookie-cutter, boring-ish, so I try to avoid it. Aside from the fact that it's horrible most all the time that I drive it. But it is a way to get from one side to the other. So Austin is separated by I-35 over here and Mopac on the west. This kind of reminds me of like a light version of the East Village. Key on light. On a Friday night you'll see it kind of has that feeling to it. Dr. Evil giving Mr. Houdini advice. Let's see what Mr. Houdini had to say. Are you sure it's the best idea to do live streaming in your location? Opinion on that. I am not nearly as concerned as you are. I have eyes. I'm not walking through Gary, Indiana, or like Brownsville, Brooklyn. And even if I was, it's not like, this isn't a war zone. This isn't like the highest crime part of West Virginia. It's just a fucking city neighborhood. That's fine. I don't live my life afraid to walk around outside. And if you read about all the crime that you read about in New York City, if you look at it on the daily news, just think of it this way when you're walking around. What are the chances? Like, when the chances are 1 in 5 that something good happens to you, how often does the good thing happen to you? When there's a 1 in 5 chance, probably like almost never, right? If there's a 1 in 10 chance or 1 in 100. Well, if you're in New York City, the chances you get killed is like 1 in 8.5 million or something. When you have all the people there, like you're fine. You're absolutely fine. At least when you look at the ratio and the percentages. Hello, Paul Daniels. How are you doing, Paul? What's up with you? Austin has some ghettos. It does. This is not it though. Steve would have his opinion on that. Oko has the light on. No way. Does that mean Oko is open? No way. Is there Pranay Meza in there? Oh, if there is, that's a quick stream ender right there. Yes. People who watch Fox News talking about how scared they are when I walk outside reminds me of people watching CNN in 2020 telling me how afraid they were of COVID. I want to live a life where I don't harm others and I don't harm myself by virtue of being so afraid to just enjoy what's around me, that I don't enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with walking around outside. It's totally fine. Go outside of your city. Now, if you have vitiligo and you don't have sunscreen or something, I know somebody that has vitiligo and has no sunscreen. She's as white as a piece of paper. Maybe don't go out in Texas summer. I feel like without your sunscreen. But what might be your biggest regret ever? And what do you still feel regret or past on? That's a good question. Let's see. Stupid to say, and I know everybody says this is like a hindsight being 2020 thing. Moving to the bigger store. Yeah, signing the lease on that new store in October of 2019. That was the worst fucking time to decide I'm gonna spend 50 to 100K for renovating a new space in a business that's completely changing, in a city that's... I'm not even saying it from a business perspective. I'm saying it because the person that I was in winter of 2019, the person I was in winter of 2019 was a completely different person from the person that I was by like the beginning of 2021. I was kind of like a ghost of myself at that point. I feel like a big part of me just evaporated out of my body and never came back. I put myself through too much stress in too short a period of time. I don't think I ever actually snapped back into being the guy I was in October of 2019. I mean, everything I do in life is a series of risks. I take risks, I try different things. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I can't be mad. I'm blessed. I do well. There are people worse off than me for sure. But if you're asking, that's a big one. Now, what's the second biggest one? 2011, I made certain decisions with my supply company that I talked about in this Why Rossmann Supply Failed video. If I had the right people in my ear to yell at me, or I listened to the right people at the right time, I would have made very different decisions. And I would have avoided a lot of impulsive pitfalls. But it's very hard for me to figure out the difference between me being impulsive and this is a good thing, you really need to jump on this because other people are not and somebody needs to, versus, wow, this is really stupid. Why are you walking on a landmine? Is there any reason you're running towards a landmine? You realize you could jump around the landmine, right? No, I want to go on the landmine. That looks like fun. Oh, this place is busy again. It was dead in the last live stream. Every time I come here, I hear a bunch of happy conversations coming from outside of it. I don't know if it's a coincidence or what, but maybe it's the marijuana dispensary right next to it that's making people happy. Or it could just be a total coincidence. Long-time viewer, thank you for sticking with the little guy with Gluck Fitness. Not a lot of people have the balls to do what you did or akin to right to repair. I think a lot of people have the balls to do it, they just don't necessarily have the opportunity. Or they could, there's a lot of people that would be willing to put something on the line, it's just they don't have much to put on the line, so they don't get as much attention as I do. But thank you, I appreciate it. I've done quite a bit of walking at this point. I'm gonna head back to the other side of town. Yeah, you can go. Karma will get you, mofo. Accelerating here. I'm going through the crosswalk. May your oil changes be made of Gatorade. I think I've had 3 large points of burnout in life. 2011. I got out of that in 2014. There was a period in early January 2019. I think I jumped out of that by pretty quick, actually, like 2 months. March 2019. And the next one was
at the end, like December or 2020, January 2021. And that one, don't think I jumped out of. Flippy, why is RAM prices cost more than a decent GPU? I have not looked at the price of computer hardware, and I feel like if I do, I'll want to cry. I can't do it. I remember seeing remember when we were young and the best GPU you needed to play all the games at all the top settings was $300 or $400? You remember that shit? I remember that. The amount of time it took for I got an RTX 2080 in 2018. That GPU cost about $900. The amount of time it took before buying a even a $900 GPU gave me double the performance of that. Almost 7 years. But not for AI stuff, I mean for gaming. Oh, that is so sad. Somebody broke the glass and they broke the television behind it. You animal. That's why you can't have nice things, bro. You could argue you had more to lose given your position just because people have the platform doesn't necessarily make it easier. I suppose. Maybe. What is this? Jew Boy sliders. Huh. What is a slider? Sounds like something that Dr. Evil would say pause at. Dr. Evil, so what do you think? If you walk around the East Village or your neighborhood in Manhattan on a weeknight, does it look like this? Am I misremembering things, or is this just dead? Because this reminds me of New York City if a bomb went off. Slider is a regret burger. Interesting. Would you consider posting some videos over on Glomble? I've never heard of that in my life, but no. I don't care as much about the alternative platform thing anymore, and I'll tell you why. There would be people who would say, Lewis, you really need to post your stuff to Odyssey. Why are you not there? And then I was like, well, not only am I posting my stuff to Odyssey, but I was actually the number 73rd top subscribed creator at the time. So the people who were the biggest pushers of me to use other platforms, that claimed that they used them themselves, did not even realize that I was one of the most subscribed creators on that platform. So I realized even the people that say they use this platform don't even use it. What am I doing? By the 30th time I got somebody saying, Lewis, you really need to post your stuff to Rumble. And said, yeah, I actually am. Here's my channel. Oh, I didn't even know it was there. Some of these platforms as largest promoters don't even actually use them. It's highly confusing to me. Where are you? I don't know. NYC is so pretty. Yeah, we'll agree to disagree there. This is pretty dead looking. True, Dr. Beeple, true.
I wish people could quote comments in here, so when Dr. Evil says something, like Hawkstrike said something, I could actually click and just read what he said. But I can't see it. Odd. I scrolled for quite a bit. The YouTube app is not great at communication. It's almost like the YouTube app is optimized for me to only read the paid chat, which is not what I want to do. Bro, who are you? What do you want? Who the fuck do you think you are? Bro? No, you wait. Now you go. That's right, you learned some respect, you fucking LLM piece of shit. Thing wanted to play a game of chicken with me. I am not losing to some fucking ChatGPT. You see that, Dr. Evil? Dr. Evil, what would you do if you had a little ChatGPT DoorDash robot run up to you? Dr. Evil, rewind 15 seconds if you missed that. Fucking R2-D2 just challenged me to a game of chicken. I've never seen one of those things in the wild. Holy shit. Did you see that? It's like, I'm walking here. Literally. Yes, the New York, with the accent and everything. I can't say it with the accent because I don't have enough of it, but you know, I'm walking here. Like, this is my right of way. Somebody needs to write that in the law. The right of way belongs with humans. In a crosswalk, pedestrians have right of way. On a sidewalk, carbon-based life forms have right of way. Fucker. The dystopian future is here. Yeah, we have a lot of arguments and discussions and interesting talks on AI while training at the gym, Dr. Evil and I. And I'm sure that there'll be something to talk about tomorrow based on the fact that I just yelled at a robot. I was trying to bump into me. What would you do to that robot if it kept walking and did not allow you a place? A lot of the jobs that that job that it's replacing is a job that is horrible to begin with. Like a lot of the reason that people dislike e-bikes in New York City is because e-bikes get used a lot by people doing deliveries. And the people doing deliveries drive they ride their bikes like shit because they are financially incentivized to do so. Whether or not they can afford heat in their house or heat in their apartment is going to be based on whether or not they risk their life 5 or 6 times going through a traffic light over and over and over again so that they can make one more delivery in the hour, every hour of the day. You know, New York City had to pass a law that would allow them to take a piss in the restaurants they're doing delivery for. So a lot of those gig workers, let's say that you're going to pick up a burrito at a restaurant. You go to the restaurant and you say, like, I'm going to pick up this burrito and I'm going to deliver it to your customer so that you can make money. Would you mind if I pee in your bathroom? They say no. The customer doesn't allow the delivery person to pee in their bathroom. So where do they pee? On the street. I always used to let people take a piss if they walked in the store and they had no money. If they look at me and they say, I'm not buying anything, I just got to use the bathroom, you go, you do you. The cost of me having to use Windex and some paper towels to clean up my bathroom after you piss on the floor is worth it to not walk down a street that smells like piss everywhere I go. I don't have the right to complain about anything smelling like piss if I don't let you use my bathroom. But they actually had to pass a law so that delivery people in New York City that deliver food could piss in the restrooms of the restaurants they were doing food delivery for all day. It's crazy. But see, you know what's going to be in the future, Dr. Evil? Instead of the delivery person doing that delivery person is going to be managing a robot. He'll be managing a farm of 50 robots. Each delivery person will have 50 different robots that are under their purview, And every time the robot has a problem that it can't solve, you know, if you're in a Tesla and you have full self-driving, it goes boop, 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 every time it gets scared and doesn't know what to do. When the robot goes boop, boop, boop and doesn't know what to do, that person is then going to tell that robot what to do. That's the libertarian fantasy land of everything just going perfectly according to... Everything just sorting itself out. You won't have any job loss at all. It'll just create new jobs and it'll just happen immediately. That's the fantasy land. The delivery person will be under a bridge burning garbage trying to stay warm. That is a more likely outcome in the short term, to midterm, to maybe long term. Who knows? We'll see. I'm an optimist. I believe in these things working themselves out. Speaking of, if you're talking about the bridge, Dr. Evil, under I-35 is where that would usually happen here. What is this? Only one of the 50 delivery guys will manage the robots. The other 49 will be told to go die quietly in a corner like Chef Chilios. Oh no, it'll just be that everybody has their own personal robot for everything all the time. Listen, I don't know why you're so pessimistic about everything, man. The world is going to be, it's all going to solve itself. It's going to be great. Just like in the past. Everybody is going to be happy. It'll be just fine. One out of 50 sounds way too optimistic. You'd probably need an engineering degree just to sit on the control panel or even go out there fixing those things. Probably, that sounds very likely. You know, it's funny you mention that. So there's this one program here where you can help people who are homeless to learn technology skills or learn how to deal with email and basic shit so they could apply to jobs and everything like that. It's a volunteer thing. And I applied to do this. You have to submit a video application explaining why you're qualified for the job, and you have to fill out a bunch of paperwork for a background check. Like not DocuSign type of stuff, but I mean like you print out the paper, you sign it, you fill out all this paperwork, and then you scan each page and then you upload it. I just like, bruh, I cave, you win. There was a program in New York City that this is back in 2019, that I tried doing where you mentor kids that had, like, you know, fucked up home experiences and everything. It was to try and connect kids that had fucked up life experiences with older people that had fucked up childhood experiences that made something afterwards. I guess they thought I made something of myself. Maybe, I don't know. I'll let everybody else decide. But what was interesting is to be a part of that program actually required that I fill out less paperwork and undergo less looking into me than a program in Austin where I'm teaching homeless people how to use computers and email. Surprised they didn't ask if I have a college degree. I was thinking to myself, like, okay, can't I just find a program that allows me to put a signature on a PDF and write it in there? And I'm about to install LibreOffice Impress, not Impress, what was the one? I think Impress is their version of PowerPoint. What's the version of LibreOffice where you edit PDFs and shit, and like take a signature that I make in color paint and then copy and paste it? And I'm like, wait a second. I'm applying to teach homeless people how to use computers for free. What the fuck am I doing? Yes. I wonder if all the people that actually come to use the program have to go through a background check as well. All of the homeless people. It's not LibreOffice. I don't think it's Writer. There's another one that makes it easy to edit PDFs. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. I'll remember the name of it later. LibreOffice Draw, that's the one. Volunteering can be fun. If you've ever been in a shitty place in your life and you thought to yourself, why does nobody want to help me? It's fun to be able to be that when you can for somebody else. You can't do that for everybody, but if you could do it for one person, it's rewarding. I'm just not filling out a background check form for that. That's manually with paper. Get out my inkjet printer. LLM could make it, probably. Wow, almost 2 hours of walking. I almost forgot this. Something I have to do at 8. It requires a shower beforehand, which means I gotta run. But I don't think I can run. Shit. Well, one way to find out. I'm gonna give it a try. Maybe not a sprint run, but just a nice, handily paced jog. He's texting. There we go. The light's green. Okay, you're not texting. When somebody has their car in the crosswalk, I always try to make eye contact and stare before crossing. Or be ready to sprint. Okay. Grab a scooter. Fuck those things. I have legs. Let's see if they work.
run a mile, take a shower, find parking for something. How's it going? Pleasure to meet you. I am a fat ass. Old fat ass. This should be easier. I wonder how the image stabilization is in a picture while live streaming. Look at the beard and the mustache on this man. Fogo, I wonder how much money they spend trying to get the perfect focus group to figure out what does the type of alpha that spends $72 on lunch look like. Probably this, not me. Not me. Back to running. I was about to use the red light as an excuse there. I get a bigger break from my cardio. No, there's nobody there. It would have been a good cope though. I'd love to keep running, but I can't because the light's red. There is nothing more depressing than looking at my running times pre-injury and post-injury. But yeah, I don't look anymore. I just do the work. It'll get easier with time. Lewis, try skipping. Maybe on 4th Street. Next time I go down there. I gotta save that. And every time my assistant, every now and then, like her husband will come by and bring her a protein shake or lunch or something nice. I'll joke and I'll be like, I'm jealous. I want a husband. She's like, it's nice to have a husband. I'm like, I want somebody to bring me shit. Why don't I have somebody that just brings me shit? It must be nice. Alright, Dr. Evil, this is the bridge. Gonna run over the bridge. Most of the bridge smells like pee. For reasons. Oh fuck, I am fat and out of shape. Fuck my life, this should not be this hard. This is literally a boring paced jog. I shouldn't even be breathing right now.
because I set my calendar reminder for half an hour instead of an hour. That'll teach me. This is a sponsored ad that you're going to hear. If any of you are watching this and want to know how somebody with severe spinal injury could go from that to running in a few months, Dr. Evil Genius is in the chat, and he is taking new clients at this time. The best personal trainer on earth, / physical therapist, / anti-clanker friend. No back pain. Nice. Tie my shoe. Wait, my shoe is tied. My shoe is tied, and what did I feel clank hitting up against my leg? That's awkward. Odd. You think Mamdani is a new leaf in New York City, or just another politician that wants to get elected? I think he could be both, honestly. Dr. Evil says Mamdani is a disease to excessive greed. Problem. He'll likely concede that his plans won't work, so he'll line his pockets with the rest of them. I don't know. I'm more optimistic about him than Dr. Evil. But I also have the luxury of not living there. So, my optimism doesn't cost me anything. Okay, back to work. Who the fuck said that was a rest? Who said that was a rest period? That's cheating. Alright, I'll end stream here, take a shower, go to my work meeting, talk to you later. I'll be back soon. Hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Don't worry, Dr. Evil. Mamdani is going to offer free personal training to all 8.5 million New York City residents. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Why are you running? Poor time management. Steve L made a video answering your screen video. I saw it, I left a comment. Wow, this video made $29.58. Thank you. In New York City, that's an hour of parking. Radathad is a person whose ideas own him. Radathad does not have ideas in his own mind. Ideas own him. He doesn't own the ideas. Don't be like Radathad. Never go full brain dead. Always think for yourself. Life is not a black and white storybook where you do what somebody else tells you to. Be your own man or woman. I'll end the stream at that. When I cross the street, of course. All right.